night. This is B-Movie Madness. The movie I'm going to talk about tonight, is another anthology co-directed by Joe Sherlock. I'm always excited to watch and review anything involving Joe Sherlock, so I was super excited to see what this anthology was all about. Now, what is this anthology I speak of? Well, it is the one, the only, the legendary Dark Zone 13. And I'll give, as usual, I'll have a better look at the cover on the screen. I'm also going to pop up the back cover. As with all anthologies I review, I'm going to go segment by segment, give you the opinion about it, who directed it, and at the end, as a whole, I'll tell you what I thought about it. And because there is not a plot description of the stories on the back of this cover here, I will be using a mixture of my memory and some notes. So if you see me glance over at the notes, that's what I'm doing. Just trying to remember certain information. But I will read the back of the cover, though, because it's pretty interesting. It says, Dark Zone 13 reveals tales from the infamous, unpublished 13th issue of a lost pulp magazine. Some speculate it couldn't be released because it was cursed. Perhaps it was too dark. Regardless, we found it, and we're sharing the scary stories that for years have been unseen. And there are 6 total scary stories in this movie. There is no formal wraparound. It's just you get the title card in the story, which is fine, because these are just supposed to be stories that were in a pulp magazine. So, as usual, I will go through each story, who directed it. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, I'm repeating myself for some reason, but I will start now. Story 1 is called The Doll, and this one was directed by Joseph Voegele and John Stone. Joseph Voegele, he's worked with Sherlock quite a bit. He also directed Specimen 6, which I reviewed a few months back, and I really enjoyed that one. And what is The Doll about? The Doll is that simple and to the point story about a young woman who gets a package in the mail, a package that contains a creepy looking doll. She didn't order it. It had no return labels. It just happened to come in the mail. And soon enough, as you probably could predict, the doll comes to life and begins to terrorize the young woman. But after she takes a shower, which is very important, because shower scenes in a Joe Sherlock production, you gotta have them. They're part of the fun, the charm. You gotta have them, So what did I think of the doll? Overall, the doll was actually a lot of fun. Like I said, it was simple to the point. It's not super long. It reminded me a lot of probably the Zuni fetish doll segment of Trilogy of Terror, the first one, Karen Black. I think that's where the inspiration was from, or I can imagine it was from, because it reminded me a lot of that. I thought the doll effects, although very simple, were well done. There was some good makeup and gore in this one, and the twist ending, which I'm not going to spoil it here, actually I really liked the twist ending. It reminded me of the twist that was in one of Joe's older anthologies, Trailer Park Double Wide Trilogy of Terror. It reminded me a lot of one of the segments in that. But overall, yeah, the doll was fun. You got some boobs, you got a killer doll, and you got some blood and a twist ending. So what more can you need? Overall, it was a lot of fun. Story 2 is called Boris, and this one was directed by Filip, and I will apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. And this one it's in a different language. I don't know what quite language it is because I'm not very good with languages, but I believe Filip is from Croatia. Croatia. See, I can't even pronounce it right. But what is Boris about? It's told in 2 segments. It is about 2 separate women who are living in this house which is haunted by this young, I would say, teenager named Boris, who was into the black magic, and he was killed by an evil spirit when he was using a Ouija board. So now he haunts his house and terrorizes the people within it. But this one, I'm not the biggest fan of haunted house stories. I do like quite a few of them, like older ones, but when it comes to today, I don't really care for like ghost movies or haunted house movies. But this one was actually fairly well done. I think the best part of it is Filip, who directed it. He stars as Boris, and the Boris character was really creepy and effective. Every time he was on screen, like my attention was he got my attention. It reminded me a lot of the Japanese uh, ghost movies like The Grudge without the long hair. He's wearing a robe and all that, and it's really effective and well done. Um, the you know the acting from everyone else isn't nothing special. Some of their reactions are kind of hokey, but any problem I had with it was kind of like pushed aside because I thought Boris, the title character, um, was just really effective, and he was actually really scary. So I give this one a pass simply because of Boris. He was, made the movie or made this story worth watching. So excellent job. Story three is called. Now I'm gonna have to get my notes for this one because I can't remember. Just beyond the corner of your eye, and this one was directed by Joe Sherlock, and this one is about a an author named Dr. Mobius, who writes books about the unknown and the unusual and like occult stuff. And she ends up befriending a podcaster who was a big fan of her work. And soon after, she gets a copy of the Necronomicon in the mail. And as you would expect, soon enough, her life is in danger. What I really liked about this one is it's very Lovecraftian, which you probably figured out because I'm never Necronomicon for some reason. Sometimes I can't pronounce that right. But I really liked that aspect of it. It was really, really fun. Jackie Newman Nyman Jones, who was a child star of Manos, The Hands of Fate. She plays the lead Dr. Mobius, which is named after a character that was in Dimension of Blood that Tom Schafer played, who was originally supposed to play this, but he ended up passing away, unfortunately. She does a really good job. I thought Rob Miracle, who plays the podcaster, he did really solid job as well. But the best part of it is definitely the final 5 minutes where everything comes together. There's some fun gore and there's some really cool makeup effects. And overall, if you're into Lovecraftian horror, and a micro budget, this is one that is really well worth watching. I really enjoyed this one. Now, we're on story 4, which is called Bath. This one was also directed by Joe Sherlock, and this one is about a woman named Roberta who is stalking this woman at a movie theater, and she ends up following her to a coffee shop or a bar, coffee shop, I believe, and she ends up befriending the woman. But soon enough, because she's a stalker, you find out she wants something a lot more than friendships, something very, very disturbing. Um, I'm going to be honest with you. This one came out of nowhere for me. This one was a punch to the gut because I was not expecting this one to be as disturbing as it was. And I'm sure there's people who are going to watch this and be like, they ain't that disturbing. I've seen a Serbian film. I've seen this and that. Like, you look up the disturbing film Iceberg. No, it's not nearly as disturbing as 95% of the movies on that list. But in the context of this anthology film, heck, in the context of Joe's entire work I've seen so far, this is by far his most disturbing thing. Most of the stuff is for, pretty much fun, just entertaining B-movie fun. But this one's downright disturbing. And I gotta hand it to Donna Rooney, who plays Roberta, the stalker. She did an amazing job. She says so much with her face without saying a single word. There's a shot, and this will be spoilers because I can't discuss it without spoiling it. There's a shot at the end where she's naked and she's staring into a mirror and she's completely covered in blood. And the look on her face says so much that I found it very disturbing. Now, is it the most disturbing thing I've ever seen? Obviously not. But I was really surprised by this one. This one came out of nowhere. And that's one of the reasons, as a whole, I really like this anthology is because that one was like, what the fuck? But oh my God, was it good. I gotta give props to both Joe Sherlock and Donna Rooney. Oh my God. It was fantastic. Um, but brings me to story 5, which part 4 is a story 4 was a top one or a tough one to top. And this one doesn't necessarily do it, but that doesn't mean it's not good. The number story 5 is called Assisted Living, and it's about an older gentleman who ends up bribing his live-in nurse, so she would sleep with him. But as we soon find out, he wants something a lot more than sex from her. Something that ends with a lot of bloodshed and even a little bit of revenge, which is always fun. First of all, Richard Johnson, who plays the older gentleman, who he does a great job. He's been in quite a few Joe stuff. He was, the first thing I saw him in with Joe Sherlock was Drifter, and he did a really good job in this, playing like the horny old man. Sorry about the boner, as a line that he repeats throughout it. It's really funny. And Roxy Mountains, who plays his live-in nurse, she did a really good job too. So if you go into this one just want some big boobs and a lot of blood, this one completely delivers it. The twist at the end, the revenge aspect of it, is actually really well done too. But yeah, this was another fun one. Now the sixth and last story is called The Hunter, and this one's directed by Joe Sherlock once again, and this one's about a woman who is walking through the woods when she runs into a woman who claims she is a monster hunter, and she's currently hunting a monster that's in the woods killing people. Um, like I said earlier, the one thing I really liked about this movie is how there is so much different things. It's like a buffet. In this one, we got a monster movie and a science fiction piece all in one story. The monster suit was, for a micro budget movie, was actually well done. He also used that, I believe, in Channel 99. That was cool. There's some cool alien masks that you see. There's like a cool little creature, or like a giant like beetle puppet thing. And so there's some visual effects shots that for a micro budget movie aren't that bad. But yeah, this one was a simple monster in the woods story, and it worked. You get a little bit of gore, you got a monster, you got some aliens. It's it was a lot of fun, and it ends the movie on a fun note. And that's one thing I really liked about Dark Zone 13 is, like I said, it's a buffet. You get some ghosts, you get some um, killer doll, you got some aliens, you got some monsters, you got serial killers, you got a vampire cannibal thing going on. You got there's so much that you can pick from, and that's what I really liked about it. What made this so much fun. So as a whole, I actually really enjoyed this. And when it comes to Joe Sherlock anthology films, I would probably put this towards the top. Not sure what my favorite would be yet. I got to think about that. But this would definitely be up there because it was a lot of fun. And the fourth story, holy shit, it's worth watching just for that story. It's worth watching it for the whole thing, but the fourth one will really. That's the one you probably will remember the most. But yeah, there's also a sequel to this, which I'll be watching in the future. As for special features, there's a 15-minute behind the scenes thing at the end of the video or end of the movie. Um, and this goes into detail how all the stories came together, which is really cool. Now you can buy this particular copy or rent it at skullfaceastronaut.com. But a Blu-ray was recently released of both the first movie and the second movie that has brand new special features, and I believe that's being sold at David Sterling's store. So I will have links to both versions down below. That way you can pick which one. You can rent it, you can buy it. Your choice. But overall, yeah, I highly recommend Dark Zone 13. Um, it's basically a greatest hits package of all the things I love. I love serial killers, I love aliens, I love monsters. So yeah, definitely highly recommend Joe Sherlock's, Joseph Voegele, John Stone's, and Filip Hanzek's Dark Zone 13. Um, as for future reviews, I will be reviewing two more anthologies from Joe Sherlock to review, but I also got some new shot on video SOV horror stuff coming in the mail, including uh, Ron Ford movie, which I'm really excited about. I'm really excited about talking about that one, or watch that and talk about it. So, um, if you like my channel, give me a thumbs up. Make sure you ring that bell and comment down below. I'm not going to ask you what your favorite anthology is because I've asked that a million times. So I'll just ask, how are you doing today? How are you feeling? Um, but yeah, like I said, like, bell, comment. I'm Jonathan. It's been B Movie Madness. Thanks for watching.